let's do this. Reviewing Wednesday, 5th of August price action. So coming into the open, we are looking at obviously a rather bullish market. You could say it's a little bit bullish. I mean, just you you look at this, it's kind of bullish. A little bit, sort of ish, maybe. And we basically have this. I like this little candle here as support. You know, how you draw this is largely subjective, but yeah. The overnight high is this, so practically guaranteed that we're gonna take the overnight high right away. And then the overnight low is all the way down here. Now coming into the day, I was thinking, okay, this is obviously bullish. And if we get like a clean long entry, or if it looks like it's gonna go higher, obviously we want a long. That much is for certain. We pop higher. And so what happens is we initially pop higher and we come back lower. And so I see like, okay, high prices got rejected, low prices got rejected a little bit, maybe getting accepted a little bit more, but we'll see. And then we basically chop sideways, just like for the whole thing. And I don't really think that there is much of a trade setup here until here. And now I start to see like, okay, it does seem like we are making these equal lows here. We're perhaps starting to accept these prices a little bit. And so I figured, okay, this is a pretty reasonable spot to start shorting. And this is kind of, again, this is kind of up for debate, but I really was thinking like overnight lows. Like there's so much leverage that's coming into the market at these very high prices. And throughout the overnight session as well, all the buying that happened, it would make sense to wipe it out. And so market nukes, and I start trailing my stop, and I decide to manually close around break even. So yeah, not the best trade, it was over 2R in profit, and then I lost at break even. But I mean, it's hard to really do anything when it reverses this quickly. There just isn't much to do. And so we go back into the range, and it's like, okay, no real setup here. You could argue that you could potentially look too long here, but with how hard it rejected these levels, how quickly it did, I think it's just chopping. Like I don't think it's necessarily very good. And then it starts chopping even more, and I start thinking like, okay, maybe we're putting in some higher lows here. Maybe this could potentially go higher, but we need to see more evidence. And then this just I'm like, okay, this could be a higher low. Like it could come in here, but I still need to see it actually trade higher in order to take a long, and I don't. We see it make a lower low, pull back in the middle of the range, right? I mean, this open really is just the story of this range and us not wanting to trade in the middle of the range, basically. So eventually we start coming lower, and I think that at this point it starts to look really bearish. And I'm starting to think, look at this hourly. We completely engulfed the 9 a.m. candle. I'm starting to think this overnight low is actually a pretty reasonable target. And so what I do is I make a mistake here and I just like market short it, completely ignoring the fact that we're still at hourly support. We're still like likely to bounce. And so I just like market short, stop here and TP here. And what I should have done, which I was looking at before this candle happened, I was looking at shorting here, which is exactly at the stop of the other trade, which is like horrible. And you already know what happens. Yeah. God, I'm gonna do it one day, I swear to God. Okay. Yeah, so that happens, and trade lower, and chop around. There is a pullback, and depending on how aggressively you trail your stop, you might have gotten stopped out there. And after that, it just kind of shits itself. pullback again. It's kind of shitty when we have this like sharp pullbacks, but I think you just have to. I mean, you could TP here, of course, that's a very reasonable take. But I just think that with the way that this thing moves, you know, we retest the hourly resistance, we retest it from underneath, and yeah, we do hit the overnight lows. Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that I was correct about the idea, you know, just from looking at the price action here, I got the feeling that higher prices were being rejected more than the lower prices were. It was definitely a difficult open to trade, for sure. And yeah, but this was bad. I mean, this was just an execution mistake. And I mean, simply put, I just wasn't really like in the right state of mind. Um, and that's my biggest problem in trading. I mean, I just can't seem to stop self-sabotaging, and I don't know what to do about it. But I have to stop because that's my only shot at getting anywhere. And yeah, after that we basically just grind lower. I don't really think there's much of a trade. Then we do break higher. You could go long in here, but it didn't really give you a satisfying pullback. You could go long here again, stop here. But I think, I mean, at this point I was just checked out. At this point I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not interested anymore. But yeah. And then we chop in a really tight range for the remainder of the day, or at least most of it. Well, there was this one thing which I want to note. We have this inside bar. And so when you have an inside bar, obviously, you're looking to trade it as a range. And so we do deviate it. But there isn't really like a clean setup here until it actually breaks lower. And at this point you could, I mean, I think this is valid. Like you could look to short this level. Perhaps your stop goes there. Your TP goes there. You could even have your stop there to be conservative. And you know, I think this is okay. I think this is reasonable. I don't think this is like, I don't think this is too bad. And it would have worked too. But it was very choppy. It was very, very choppy. So I don't blame you if you, I don't blame you if you don't take it. I'm pretty sure it was only like, yeah, it was only like the last couple of minutes of trading that we actually got it. But one thing which I do want to sort of note is I've been wondering, I've been thinking lately. I've been thinking about this concept of only trading perhaps the first 2 hours because I need to get better sleep, and if I have to stay up until 11 p.m., which is my local time for the close, then it just fucks me up because I can't go to bed immediately after, obviously. So I end up going to bed at like 1 a.m. and it's not working, man. It is not fucking working. Let me tell you. So I've been thinking about like, because it does seem, I mean, these 2 days have been, you know, very special, obviously. But it does seem like in general, just from looking at you know, just from looking at my edgewonk from the challenge, and also from, or not from the challenge, but from the backtesting, and also just from looking at price action alone, it does seem like actually most days there are like the best opportunities are pretty early on in the day. And so, yeah, there might be something to that. You know, maybe the first 2 hours really do have like most of the opportunities. And yeah, yeah, I'm always surprised. Like even though I've been doing this for a while now, I'm still so surprised at how much the ES trends, because I really used to think it was just like pure chop, but I guess not necessarily. What was this? I don't recognize this price action for some reason. 28th of July. I mean, now I'm sidetracked, but you know, this is how it goes. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We had the range high, and we were targeting overnight lows, and I targeted too low. I targeted this low because I figured they were really close, but this was the overnight lows. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Classic, classic, classic. Absolutely. And oh yeah, no, there even was this short. Oh yeah. And again, the short is when is the short? The short is 10 minutes after the open, right? And then there was this long too, um, which was also like, half an hour after the open, and that was like the two best trades that day. Potentially could get long here an hour and a half after the open, but then after that, like it mostly goes sideways. This is a decent long though. This is 3 hours after the open, but yeah. But I do think it's probably possible to have a trading approach where you only trade the first 2 hours, and I think I can still make. Let's put it this way: I think I can still make 2R per week. I think I can still make 2R per week trading, even in such a way that I'm only trading the first 2 hours of the day. I used to think that it was like a really rare special exception that there is like an aggressive trend in the beginning of the day, but actually it seems to be pretty common, to be honest. It really doesn't seem to be that uncommon. But yeah. So I was thinking about that again this day, it was choppy and shitty, but then an hour after the open, we did get an entry on a long that I was planning. I wrote it in my plan. So